faster than they go progress. Vulnerable, innocent, vilified by misguided media, manipulating only minds. Left or right, you decide. The evil is hell, ain't no divide. The road I'm on is built on the lives of those who die believing in lies. But these streets are made with concrete. These streets are made with blood. These streets are made with hatred. These streets are made with no love. These streets are made with concrete. These streets are made with no love. In a field of big blue lights, with a ship inside.
Welcome back. We back. Okay, I hope everything is looking a lot smoother. I think we figured the problem out. I think I got it solved, and I think we good. All right, welcome. How are you this evening? I hope everyone is doing well and uh, experiencing the reality the way they choose to perceive it. I did want to talk about what was going on in the world right now, and I found it very interesting because some of you may know me from MREC TV. You may never see my face, but you may the voice. I was a part of Heavy Gems. I was Talib on. I am Talib from Heavy Gems, and a lot of these things we talked about, especially the psychological warfare, fifth generational warfare, and the psyops that were being ran through social engineering, along with Hollywood and various other corporate entities. And now that we've come to a point where things have really hit the fan with the death of Charlie Kirk, who I am not going to be one of the people that I guess go into shaming or berating or belittling him in any kind of way. I do not wish to contribute energy in that fashion. I merely wish to speak about this for educational purposes. And I also like to speak on this just to inform people that have been following me and maybe new people that do follow me and those that share me to others because of the perspectives and information that I did share on Heavy Gems. So I will say that, because it is a political situation and this individual was a figure that put himself out there for others, such as myself and others, to see, then he also did want his viewpoint to be discussed and so forth. So I am only speaking on this because this is the part of the psyop, and we're all in the psyop now, right? And nobody's above it. Nobody's sort of getting around this right now because the psyop has began. So what I found very interesting about everything that was happening right now was the social engineering, all of the components and pieces and parts that have been put into play to make this have the effect that it's having right now. And because here in America, one of the very big things that they do to prepare us is through predictive programming, and they love putting this stuff in films. They put this stuff in films because CIA and so forth have been working with Hollywood since the 1950s. They have, this is how a lot of the ideology and things that we think about and how we see and frame a lot of geopolitical situations are framed because of their input and how they have guided directors, writers, and people to present these positions. So in saying that, it was very interesting because back in 2012 there was a film called Branded, and in this film there were so many things that were covered that at the time you may have been able to argue against because it may have seemed very futuristic, but because it was predictive programming, it was very deep. And this was a Russian film. Okay, I believe it was done by Roadside Pictures. There were a couple of American actors in it, but for the most part, the film is a Russian film, and the movie is about marketing and advertising. And the crazy thing is, this movie has archons in it. This movie has the red cow sacrifice. And in this movie, they explain why he particularly does this red cow sacrifice, which is very interesting because you just had Israel do this red cow sacrifice not too long ago. And they've been waiting years to be able to do this thing. So it's just, the film was so, it was like, oh, and here's the thing. Nobody talks about this movie. The production quality of it was decent. It was well shot. The CGI in the film was not great. Well, you could tell that's where the budget sort of ran dry, but the creativity did not. So it is tolerable, and then the film doesn't rely on the CGI to make its point. So I just found it was really a great film. I'm going to show you some stuff from this film and give you some of this information that was pretty much in the film as exposition and narrative, and also some of the setup on how he did things. But I want to show you how marketing is still a part of the psyop, and how they marketed chaos to us. We did not decide to use the word chaos for what's going on. It was branded and given to us. Right now, all of the confusion and anger and people getting upset has been orchestrated, right? The dissonance is on both sides, orchestrated. So if you what you call a so-called black, or you a black person, you want to call yourself that, if you black, then the reality is you're looking at this from the psychological warfare perspective of, well, that's them. Look at this as white violence. Look at what they do. See, and they always putting it on us. And meanwhile, we got this other guy who's mentally ill who stabs this lady on the train, and she's tripped, and the whole world is tripping over this, right? Well, it seems like that to us here in America, like the whole world is tripping. But for the most part, here in America, we tripping. The whole world is tripping over what they're going through. If you over in England, then you over there in the streets going through the stuff that's happening in that particular country. But for what's going on here, right, there is a push now for the Civil War. Now, people talk about that film Civil War and be like, oh, that's what they're doing. Now, here's the interest. I hear people speaking on it. But notice everybody talk about the film. The one thing they don't talk about the film in that movie, which is very, very odd for a film altogether, they never explain why. They never tell you how the Civil War got started. Then in the interviews, oh, we wanted to leave it up to you to, to use your imagination. Why in the world would I want to use my imagination to figure out what your movie is about? Okay, that's setup, right? So what I am going to do is I am going to share some of this film with you, because this is something else. This is something else. Now, what I want to do is I'm gonna show you now what they got in this movie. They set up it in figures, So one of the first things I'm gonna show you, and I want you to listen to what he talked about. This is 2012, and then just think about, look around you, what people are doing, what they feeling, what they thinking, how they acting, and just listen to what this guy says. Notice something about the fast food industry right now. Notice something about the fast food industry for the last 10 years, okay? And listen to what he's talking about. This is what I want to share. So I'm gonna jump off. Let me get to the material right now. Hold on. Now this is the scene right here where he's talking to the people. And these are the guys from the fast food industry he's talking to. I'm gonna mute my microphone so y'all can hear this.
This is Joseph Pascal, the world's leading specialist on marketing.
Oh. Bravo.
Today, the biggest fast food chains were reeling from a record decline in profits. Their representatives had assembled before this guru of marketing with the hope that he could make a miracle.
I want to talk to you today about love. See, I have struggled to find a way to restore the people's love of your products, but it hasn't worked out. Consumers just no longer wish to buy them. When it's over, it's over. They no longer love you. The era of fast food has passed. But I do have a proposal. Something which exceeds the limits of marketing in its traditional form. A plan which will change the world. Together, we will make fat beautiful again. But first a question. How far are you willing to go to solve your problems?
Whatever it takes. Within the limits of the law, of course.
I'm afraid that's not far enough. Not even nearly far enough, ladies and gentlemen.
The guru's plan was approved, but due to budget cuts, they would have to begin in the third world markets of Kenya, Brazil, and Russia.
Now, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Okay. Now, just hear what he was just saying. Okay? He's sitting there telling these people that, okay, listen, people have fallen out of love with your products. It's a love thing, right? They know how to play on the emotion. I'm just setting up this next scene, y'all, so just give me 1 second. There it is. We good. See, this next scene, he gonna break down marketing to you, because see, they keep trying to sell everything to us like this is some new thing and what's happening, and like everything is innovation from today. They're not really understanding that these are techniques that have been put into work for a long time, a long time. They have been studying and strategized and learned techniques on how to, what you say is, sell things to you. And if they can sell you useless items, that means they can sell you dangerous ideologies. They can sell you things. And now there was a time when products was made to fit us, but now we're being designed to fit the product. This is how they can foster outrage. But just listen what he says about marketing. We're gonna go to this next scene, y'all.
What are you talking about?
I mean, it was Lenin who invented... Take a look. Here is the world's first marketing.
What are you talking about?
I I mean, it was Lenin who invented marketing in 1918. He found an absolutely unique way to sell people the idea of Soviet communism. Factories to the workers, land to the peasants, peace to the soldiers. He made the product promise one thing: happiness. And that's marketing. Lenin hired just simply the best designers and copywriters. Rodchenko. No, that's not Rodchenko, but yeah, Mayakovsky. The brand's official color, red. The logo, the five-pointed star. Once they'd established the super brand, they designed campaigns for all the product lines it carried. So, chocolates were Red October, perfumes Red Moscow.
The KGB.
The KGB came later, like a sort of brand police. See, it's the dream of every brand to make the competition's products illegal. That's exactly what they did. 70 years of total domination of the market. Tragically, they had really shitty production, so the product failed to live up to its promise, and consumers fell out of love with the Soviet Union.
Now that was a little history lesson. Do you understand where she saw that GE had sent for him and his people to come there and teach him the ways of marketing? There was a thing I'm going to show you. Maybe you've never seen this. Let me show you how well they understand these things. I'm going to grab this other video real quick. I'll show you. And we'll come right back to this. I'm gonna show you. Okay. And we're gonna go back. Oops.
Here is what sales psychologists have to say about selling to the Negro.
Okay. Hold on. All right, it's set up. This is a 2-minute video, y'all. Just a 2-minute video. And we're gonna get back to it. I'm gonna show you. This is from 1954. Okay.
Here is what sales psychologists have to say about selling to the Negro.
The secret of selling to the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits. Anyone who sells or wants to sell to the Negro customer should know about some of these habits. 3 habits in particular play a big part in every sales transaction. To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name. They're quick to turn down off-brand.
Hold up. I just realized I was muted. Listen here, y'all, because this was deep. 1954. Listen to what they were saying in 1954 about our spending habits, about black people spending, the Negro, which is black people. That's a very specific group of people. Let's get that very clear. Who was here in 1954? We were. But brands. Because back then, brands meant a value. There was a value tied to brands. So we ain't like cheap. Notice they studied us. They studied us hard. Right? And now what have they done? Now brands are out of control, right? As you see, it's out of control and people are being crafted by the brand, by the product. Let's finish this. Let me get back into this. Hey, if you can hear me, when I don't really want to mute it while it's on. I like to say something, but I just want to make sure you can actually hear everything while I'm playing it. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna mute it just to be safe, so we can get this vital information.
Buying by brand. That's the first important Negro buying habit. Now for the second. The Negro buys good quality merchandise. Symbols of quality and prestige are very important to the Negro customer. This woman, for example, is buying fine crystalware. But she is also buying the admiration and approval of her friends and relatives. Listen to her thoughts.
My, isn't it beautiful? I can hardly wait to show it to Sally and Joan.
Look at the level of propaganda. This is unbelievable. I'm sharing something with you because look what we just said. The first thing we said was hear him give this conversation about to the fast food company. We're going to make fat beautiful. Now everybody's BBL. Everything's getting bigger again. It almost seems like the Ozempic thing made people want to stay away from getting skinny or getting slimmer. And there's a whole, and I don't have nothing wrong with Nick. I love thickness. Maybe it's a part of, the programming. And I like that. But I'm just saying, this is something that we see that's actually happening. And also that is in a piece of media that I'm sharing with you that is from another country that is telling you that this started in third world countries, and the whole intention of it was to move it in third world countries because of the financing of it and how much it actually cost to do it. Once it was perfected, move it back out into the rest of the world. Now, what I asked you is this. Listen, look at this. How in the world are we supposed to know that's what she's thinking in 1954? Like, where did they get the power to project her thoughts auditorially over the thing so we can hear it without her mouth moving? Right? That's a setup. And this was done by psychologists and scientists and these people in sociology, these from accredited universities, and they put this together so that they can get corporations, white corporations, to better manipulate and sell to us. And you think that ended? You think that stopped? Don't you see how it's connected still? It's all a big picture. So notice, if you just go off and look at that guy, what happened to him, you lose sight of the whole picture, because all of it, veganism, recycling, all of it is connected to what you are outraging about right now. It's been a slow burn of setting up situations to assure they get the outcome they want. Let's just finish this, because we're going to get back into that branded too. We got something. We cooking tonight. Do you taste it?
It's a well-known fact that many Negro customers are influenced by the opinions of others. What their friends may think of a certain item often decides whether or not the sale is made. So remember, the Negro buys quality merchandise. That's the second important point. And here's the third thing to remember when selling to a Negro customer. When he specifically asks for one thing, don't try to sell him something else. Don't try to switch him at the point of sale. If you do, he'll probably react something like this.
Doesn't he think I've got the money to pay for it?
The Negro resents being offered a substitute. He wants to be sold on quality, not price. The Negro buys by brand, he buys quality, and he doesn't like to be switched at point of sale. These are the keys to selling the Negro customer.
According to leading researchers, in proportion to population and income, Negroes buy more quality products than any other comparable United States group. Here is what sales psychology.
Now notice, see that? They already knew our habits, and what did they do? They took straight advantage of that. They took straight advantage of that. That's what they did. Okay? They turned around and they took straight advantage of the fact that we enjoyed quality, the fact that we cared about how we were presented and represented, and how we looked to others, and how we looked to our families and friends. And they manipulated all of that through the power of marketing and advertising. This is the deadly, deadly, deadly point I am attempting to make. And I'm showing you how this all plays into all of it. Your Charlie Kirk, all of it. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to go, and I want to show you how they craft scenarios, right? So I say, please go look up Branded. Please check this film out if you get a chance. Watch the whole film. I'm only pulling out key points. It's not gonna, if you really like movies, I don't want to destroy that for you if you want to go watch the movie. If you rather, so all I'm just pulling out is the key points that were vital to what we're talking about when it comes to what they're doing right now. But I definitely suggest you go back and you watch this film, because there is some very, very interesting symbolism here about the red cow and the archons and things of that nature. That's very powerful symbolism there in that. But what I am going to show you next is how they accomplish this. We're going to go straight to him explaining. But just to give you a little sample, now, this is what they knew. They knew something because they did this particular thing in the film, where they show you him having a dream within a dream, and he gets this information to perform a ritual. And it's a ritual on this. Now, from here, from this point, he actually goes and he performs the red cow sacrifice. And I'm going to show you what they show the intention of this sacrifice. Hold on one second, guys. I'm just queuing this one up. Here we go. Here we go. We queued up. Now, I want you to, they're going to tell you what this ritual he performed was. Check this out.
Just a hallucination will get you better.
Misha discovered that what the voice in his dream had made him do was perform, rather precisely, one of the most ancient and mysterious rituals in human history, the sacrifice of the red cow.
I don't know when we'll be back. It all depends, you know. Yeah. Just remember.
Do you hear that? The sacrifice of the red cow. Now, hear what he says here when he explains to her what's happening. I'm going to set this up for you right now. Hold on. Let me make sure. Right, please. And you can find this movie on YouTube. Please check it out. It's a link in the description.
Cool to be fat, cool to be more.
Listen to this. I'm gonna just go back a little bit. He's having a little conniption in the kitchen about what he see they doing, because he's got sight now. He can actually see these archon creatures attached to people feeding on these desires, and these companies are being fed on as well. So let's just check this out right here. You will really enjoy this one. Check this out.
Fast food. The fast food corporations are responsible for all of it. I can prove it to you. It was a conspiracy, a disgusting, cynical conspiracy. All the noise surrounding what happened to Veronique was manufactured to alter people's image of beauty. To make fat cool. Cool to be fat, cool to eat more hamburgers. I mean, look what they've done to people. Look what they've done to Robert.
What have they done to him?
Hang on. Okay. They feed off our desires. Okay? You begin to want something, and then this big weird creature growing out of you starts getting bigger. Okay, they make you have desires that aren't the kind that can be completely fulfilled. They've gotten totally out of control. I mean, it's not as if we can have that many desires anyway, to have them wasted on these things.
What's gotten out of control? Fast food's gotten out of control?
No, what's fast food got to do with it? I mean, yes. Fast food, it's all the brands. It's the whole system. It's an occupation. A subtle, unnoticeable occupation, and everyone's just running around happy. Everyone's smiling.
That's because everybody wants to be happy.
A castrated lamb is happy too, Abby. Because it doesn't know what it lost. I mean, we don't even know that desires can be different anymore. We have been trained to love shit. Want shit and shit.
Trained by whom?
Lenin. Marketing was invented by Lenin. Don't you remember any of this? And now, it's the foundation of the world economy. The great global brand revolution has won. We are all still living in the world Lenin created. It used to be the brands were formed from people's desires. Now it's the people that are being formed according to the desires of the brands.
Fine.
Do you understand? Do you understand? Wake up. Do you even know who you are anymore? The person you say that's me, you, is just a series of experiences that have been manipulated to give you cause to continue to behave a certain way. This is what they play off of. This is what they use. It's the gas and the fuel to what they do to us. Right? It's, look, I got one more I'm gonna show you. Wait, no, actually I got more than one. I got more. We could go cook on that. Taste that. Oh yeah. No, I got another one. Then I'm going back. I'm gonna show you this. And I have some we got it in I went and put it in here so you're gonna see the words on the bottom of this next one. This next scene is about 4 minutes long, but what I want you to do is I want you to hear that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play Chase Hughes a video he just did a couple days ago about this psyop with what's going on. And watch how the weird connections start coming together for you when it comes to this being some sort of marketing. Because this is marketing. This is marketing. And it's genius what they're doing with it. But this is clearly marketing. Second. Excuse me if it kicks in. Hold up.
Of your very soul, instead of a universal.
We're gonna do this one in a second. It's all set up. And this video is about 20 minutes. We may go through some, we'll see if we make it through all of it. But, and then maybe I'll cover one more thing before we get out of here tonight. I had to come and bring you this. It's just because it was very interesting. And my plan is to come through tomorrow with some more information. So, all right, get ready for this. This is this scene in Brandon. And this is a part where after him understanding what the brand, how they're doing what they're doing as far as with the brands and how it's the whole marketing ploy and how they weaponize marketing, he decides to retaliate. And what his retaliation is literally what we're seeing today. And I just want you to keep that in mind because this was 2012. Here we go.
Distinguished leaders of restaurant chain Dim Sum. It is my great pleasure to introduce you to a true legend in the world of marketing, Mikhail Galkin.
So, gentlemen, you wish to introduce a chain of vegetarian restaurants into the Russian market. I've analyzed the results of the focus group, and frankly, I must say you have a problem. Russians just don't like your product. Marketing in its traditional form is simply powerless here.
Thank you for your very interesting opinion, Mr. Galkin.
I do, however, have a proposal. Something which exceeds the limits of marketing in its traditional form. But first, let me ask you a question. How far are you willing to go to solve your problem?
We are ready for anything. Anything within the law, of course.
I'm afraid that's not going to be far enough, gentlemen.
We are ready to go far enough.
Fine. Then I would like you to mass produce and market a little apparatus for testing beef.
A beef tester, for short. What? A beef tester.
What?
Moi, je pense souvent à toi, ma belle. Je vois ton nom qui brille écrit grand dans le ciel. Ma belle, ma belle, l'âme de mon amour.
Это не улыбка. Это беззвучный крик ее организма, только что получившего дозу говядины, зараженной смертью. Каяка Групп – ваш единственный щит от смертельной вкуснятины.
Yeah, it's good. Just add some graphics that say, test your beef or taste your death.
Hi, guys. Despite the beef tester campaign's insinuation, only 12% of Russians polled believe there is a link between mad cow disease and the deadly new virus that has to date claimed over 500 lives.
In response, the Russian live during a press conference in which he announced a nationwide ban on the campaign. As a result, restaurant chain Dim Sum has reported record losses for last quarter.
You tell Mr. Mintao banning the beef tester campaign was part of the plan. You tell him that now is the time to open and advertise his restaurants. A lot of restaurants. And tell him that I would suggest not limiting his campaign to Russia alone.
What?
Now completely convinced that beef is deadly. Dangerous. Когда я говорю гамбургер, ваша ассоциация вкусно, голод.
Смерть. Гамбургер. Смерть.
Meanwhile, over the last 3 days, 30 new vegetarian restaurants opened in Moscow alone, where one can eat without having to test every slice of beef. Whether this newfound love of all things vegetable will stick, only time can tell. From the streets of Moscow, Russia, this is Diana Kruger, Business Channel News.
Now let me read you a little fact, a little historical growth and demographic shift. The number of U.S. vegans in the U.S. increased dramatically from approximately 290,000 in 2004 to around 10 million by 2019, a 30-fold rise. As of 2025, survey estimates 4 to 6% of the U.S. population identifies as vegan or vegetarians, with higher adoption rates among younger generations. Nearly 60% of Gen Z millennials in the U.S. report adopting vegetarian or vegan diets compared to lower rates among older age groups. This shift is attributed to a greater awareness of health, environmental, and ethical issues among youth. Psy Op. You see the planning? This is so funny because when you really sit and think about it, you go, well, that can't be. That has no connection. And then you see, boom, it's connected. It's connected. Right? So that's something from Brandon I wanted to share. I wanted to show that. I wanted to show that this extremism, this civil war, all of this is marketing. It's a big marketing ploy but marketing has been weaponized, and that's what they are calling fifth generational warfare. The ability to social engineer a large population in a short amount of time through social evasive ideology. That's how they do it. And what I want you to hear is this guy Chase Chase Hughes. Now, I played some stuff from him before. This guy he's well in the know of the tricks and games that's being played. He helps teach these tricks and games. So I always, even though he comes out and shares these things, I'm very mindful of his information still, because I understand who he's worked for. So, but once again, let's hear this. Let's go here real quick.
We all crossed into something that is a lot darker than just politics. This right here, what we're seeing, is what happens when violence becomes part of a political conversation. When actual TV networks air over and over clips that encourage people to see the other side not as neighbors that we might disagree with, but as enemies that need to be destroyed, as the threat to society. And you've seen it, I have no doubt. We all have seen this. People in the media saying these people are a threat, these people are dangerous, maybe some violence is justified, and it's not fringe anymore. This is mainstream. And there are thousands of these clips out there aired to millions of people, kind of nudging, suggesting, maybe planting seeds that maybe a fist, maybe a bullet is a legitimate form of political debate.
You resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck.
Biggest terror threat in this country.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
No, okay. Now he's gonna get deep, and a lot of what he's saying is 100% valid. But just notice the one-sided nature of what he's deciding to show here. Once again, you can see what side he's pretty much leaning on, because he's trying to show you that these so-called Republican type figures that lean on a conservative viewpoint, or the God-fearing Christian type people, have been peaceful, and they've been under attack, and they're showing you how everybody hates them and how this so-called left has been violent and everything. Meanwhile, just obliterating the fact that these dudes have been on campaigns ruining the world, destabilizing entire countries. Meanwhile, it's them that was responsible for putting everybody on drugs. So it's very clever how they're working their little magic right now to make it look like one side This is a good chance. Remember, whenever these sides happen, they use it as an opportunity to rewrite history. They're rewriting history right now in your mind, and because now they're going to make you believe that all this time these people have been innocent to some degree and very decent about what they've been presenting, when they haven't. None of them have, because marketing is vicious. The goal of marketing is to make your competitor illegal. And everyone, think about it, everyone now is a self-sustained business. Everyone is a brand. Everyone is a lifestyle. Listen to these terms. They don't even realize they're using marketing terms to describe themselves. Right? And everything has been marketed. Everything's been bagged up and packed and tagged. Excuse me. You positive? Don't worry. I got the manifestation all packaged up bundle. Oh, you're not tough enough. You're not getting it in. You need to be tough. I got that packaged up for you, nice and neat. Here, come get my package. It's gonna show you how to be a man and start a business. Everything is being presented to you to where you don't even know what life is anymore. You've completely been lost into simulacra. The simulation is so deeply entrenched around you. You are standing outside and feeling like you're not even outside in reality anymore. That's because the world is in your head, and they know this, and they have planted these seeds in your head. But he's gonna get deeper. I don't want to sit here and not give my opinion, but I don't want to interrupt him too many times. I would like to get through some content so we can actually have a discussion.
A lot of people don't have the attention span to maybe stick with this, but I pray that you do, because I'm going to expose something here that's going to change everything for you if you stick around. But here's the irony, and what I think is a absolute concrete law of history. It's concrete law. The minute that your ideas require violence to enforce or spread, they are already completely bankrupt. Every tyrant, every failed ideology, every social collapse starts the exact same way.
Just told myself I was going to let him go, but let him cook a little, but I got to take that off the grill right now. Listen, remember, their whole goal is to pacify us. They don't want us. They don't want us to ever stand up and do anything aggressive toward them. Okay, so they sell us these stories that, oh, all the greatest things that here came from peace. Meanwhile, their whole founding fathers were violent men that killed themselves. They all mass murderers. They serial killers in a way. When you really look at it, the only reason you don't call it murder is because you agree with their political viewpoint. So you believe that the people they killed was justified. But that's not what it is. That's still murder. You do understand that, right? All your founding fathers are murderers. This whole country was founded off of murder. When they was throwing tea and soldiers off the harbor. Okay? They always want to sell you this story about the peace because they don't want nobody to do nothing. And you think that you're gonna what was this? We're gonna go to the polls and sign our name and put some guy down and he's gonna make it better? Do you not see that doesn't work yet? That you keep doing it. It don't work. It doesn't work. I just had to say that because one is I do not agree with this. No violence, no do nothing, no say nothing. Am I advocating for you to go out here and get violent? I am not. But I am saying this. If someone comes and the time comes and we have to stand for ourselves, then you got to stand for yourself. It's not going to come from holding hands and singing in front of a bear. A grizzly bear is not going to stop because you just want to be peaceful.
Debate dies, then violence takes the place of debate. And you can't argue with a gun. You can only kill with it. And when killing is the substitute for a conversation, society as a whole starts falling off a cliff. And we all, myself included, we all have been sold the biggest con of our entire life. And this is that the problem is left versus right, or Republicans versus Democrats. And that is the distraction fireworks show that they want us screaming about while they're doing something else. And this is a magician's trick. And I'm about to really show you what Charlie, God rest his soul, has kind of exposed here. If you turned on cable news today, you go in your living room, turn it on, maybe you scroll social media, what are you gonna see? The absolute fringe. They're gonna show you the loudest, dumbest, most cartoonish people from the other side blasted in your face 24/7. You're not being shown your neighbor or your coworker or the mom next door who votes differently. You're being shown a bunch of professional lunatics that are handpicked to make you think one thing. And the one big thing that they want you to think is, oh my God, these people are insane. They are the enemy. That's the reason that we're going downhill. And none of this is an accident. This is word for word textbook psychological operations. And military psyops manuals literally describe how you isolate a target audience, then you pump them full of a bunch of outrage, you create a tribal us versus them identity. This is straight out of a psyops textbook. So why would we want to do this? Or why would psyops want to do this? Because once you're locked into tribal thinking, you're going to swallow anything. You're going to believe any lie about the other side. You're going to cheer when other people suffer. You'll excuse things that you would never excuse in your own neighborhood if you watched it right in front of you and it was one of your neighbors. This is exactly the playbook on how you get otherwise decent, kind people laughing at a murder on the internet. That is how you radicalize a country without firing a shot. And let me tell you something that you're not supposed to think about right now. You share more in common. You share more with somebody across the aisle than with a billionaire donor or some media executive pretending to speak for you. I don't think they want you to see that. They need you divided. They have to have you blind and full of rage, because a united, sane, connected public is the one thing that they actually fear. So how does a normal person, just a regular person, a guy who loves his kids, pays his bills, maybe argues politics at Thanksgiving, how does he turn into somebody who cheers at the assassination of a political opponent on the internet? This does not happen overnight. It is a formula, and I'm going to lay it out for you very plain right here. Number one is isolation. And this is where you don't just disagree with people anymore. You're told not even to interact with them. You don't have friends on the other side. Don't date them. Don't work with those people. You need to cut them out of your life. That is step one.
I think that's something we all experience with COVID, right? Or, whatever. We can say it. I don't care, right? I think that's something we all experience with that, right? And when the Orange Man was running, a lot of people got disconnected from their families for that. A lot of people got disconnected from their families. So isolation is definitely the tactic, especially even when it comes to things like gang stalking or targeting individuals, which they don't always gang stalk target individuals, right? They can use a digital stalking where they can blacklist them and make it hard for them to get jobs, to do things, constantly have problems with their digital things and so forth like that, push them into a state of isolation to where they don't want to leave the house, they don't want to be around people. Once you get somebody isolated, and that's what narcissists do, they isolate you. They isolate you from your friends, your family. There's tactics, there's different ways. It may be like, oh, you like going out, they don't like going out. So you end up just staying around all the time, and then one day you just don't go out no more. You don't want to. Isolation. And the reason somebody want to separate you is very simple. If you separate, and they pull you away, then you don't have any sounding board other than them, right? Because this is what the gaslighting is for, right? Once you've been gaslit that what you think it don't make any sense, then you rely on them for sense. You question your own actions, and you question what you do, and you look to them for that. So that's a very powerful thing right there. And number one, isolation. I agree. I just want to say that I didn't want to have too much to sit in there because I have a lot to say about these things, and I just wanted to say that I don't want things that I feel to go too far beyond when he said them.
And if you're paying attention, that's also step 1 of joining a cult. So step 2 is echo chambers. You surround yourself only with opinions that sound just like yours. Social media makes damn sure of this, and algorithms serve you more of what already pisses you off. And this has been proven and documented in research. So that rage gets recycled and concentrated like moonshine, like a moonshine still. And if you haven't caught on yet, this is step 2 of building a cult, a dangerous cult. So step 3 here is the tribal script. This is the us versus them narrative. Your side is righteous, their side is evil. Every single issue is framed like a holy war, and it doesn't matter if it's taxes or healthcare. It's suddenly life or death. It's good versus evil. And it adds outrage and righteous superiority, and brain chemistry starts going bonkers, crazy. That cocktail makes me feel morally justified in hating and silencing violence. That is true radicalization. That's how you turn regular people into basically a sleeper agent without them even knowing. The bad news is that what I just said is only the beginning, and it's happening on both sides of the imaginary aisle. Here's the truly horrifying part. All of this, it's not just a result of some advertising and algorithms. This is deliberate, and I would stake my reputation on it. This is not just some accidental byproduct of politics. This, what we're seeing right here, is engineered step by step to keep you outraged and blind and keep you just kind of stabbing and punching at shadows, all the while this real power, the people who profit from division, stay completely untouchable. So keep this in mind while we're talking. You have more in common with someone who voted different than you did than the people that you see parading their narratives on TV. Please keep that in mind forever if you're able to. An absolutely brutal truth that nobody really wants to face. Assassinations that, especially like we saw with Charlie Kirk, assassinations are not usually about stopping some kind of evil. They're about stopping ideas. You don't kill somebody because their argument was weak. You silence them because you were terrified that their words are working on people. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. He wasn't murdered because he was irrelevant and he had bad ideas.
First of all, there are multiple reasons you assassinate a target, and he knows that. But he's pulling out a specific one of the reasons to make his point. But if you mention the others, then the point is debatable, right? Because one reason you can assassinate someone is to martyr them. Right? Another reason you could murder someone, as if we saw in the case of Martin Luther King, is to silence all dissent. The murder of our leaders put in us a feeling, a group consciousness of not rising up anymore. Because for us, all our leaders get killed. We use these examples, and they help shape our leaders, and they killed them for the psyop of showing you that if any of you try to come up, no matter how right you are about that, you're going to be unalived. Right? Their leaders got assassinated and they were made into martyrs. And in some situations, they were used as examples for others that were above the regular public to know, don't try me. But this situation here, this man was clearly unalived to be made into a martyr, because the marketing and branding of the new conservative was already there. He was the face of that. Right? And we know through all the things surrounding it, the fact that the pictures of the young man they say did this, their pictures don't even look the same. He doesn't look the same. For him to take the rifle apart, jump from a building in which he should have at least hurt his legs to some degree, then run and go away into the woods and put the gun back together and leave it there, makes no sense. The energy given off from the governor. Go look at a body language expert who's watching that. And they're going to tell you that there's language there. They may not say, well, I can't tell you exactly why he's being funny, but I can tell you that that isn't normal. That's what you wouldn't do, and you wouldn't normally just do that. There's reasons why you wouldn't normally do it, but they probably would. But there are those that's going to give it to you because there's too many connecting things. 33, 33, 33. We're so happy it was only 33 hours. This, that, and what? Why? Everything's 33. Half-mast flag. All of this going down this fast. Yes, I understand that he was a important figure to them, but this much attention is crazy and insane. Because he was a powerful man's friend at the end of the day. I'm gonna get back to this one.
Ideas. He was killed because his vision of racial and economic unity and equality was gaining traction in the country. If you look at President Kennedy, JFK, he wasn't taken out because he had no power or had crappy ideas. He was killed right as he started poking holes in this weird, dark system's grip on our war and defense and secrecy. Mr. Rabin, this guy, Rabin, I think, assassinated in Israel. Nobody did it because he was a joke or because he was a laughingstock. He was killed because he was pushing in Israel for peace, and peace threatened power. Peace threatened power. History is unbelievably clear on this. If debate dies, when open conversation gets replaced with suppression or intimidation and ultimately violence, society walks into a death trap. There is not an exception to this. So the ideas that require censorship or intimidation or blood to survive, they are 100% of the time poison. An idea that can't survive in the sunlight has to live in the shadows. And that is the death spiral that we are in if we don't stop this shit right now. So let's look at the other hand in this magic trick. Remember we talked about there's some misdirection going on here. For decades, the press, the media was supposed to be our watchdog. They're going to find all the facts. They're going to hold the powerful accountable. They're going to keep people informed. And again, you can see this with your own eyes. It's not right versus left. Look closely at the media. It's not right versus left. This is darkness versus light. The media is a circus tent with a lot more in common to a casino. This is a propaganda machine just churning out outrage. Let me just tell you exactly how this works. Facts are boring to people. Outrage is more likely to sell. It's more likely to keep you looking at the screen. That's their metrics. That's what they get paid based off of. So instead of
they always want to treat us like we're goddamn idiots. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it, though. Because once again, what do you mean? I mean, he's cooking. But no, we don't all want terrible news. You've been tuned to it. It's not what we want. It's not what we want. And you ain't never seen them give you, they always tell you you won't be happy unless you got confusion. But you ain't never gave nobody everything to be happy. Now, they give us these examples of rotten people saying they have everything, but when we see the situation, they don't have everything. Right? Because they don't have no value. Right? Oh, well, that's because they didn't go without. No, because they was never taught. If you never taught value, then you never gonna have none. So I just don't agree with when he comes like that, and I had to say that because I want to be clear. This man knows it. I wish I get a chance to speak to him. I'd love to hear what he would actually say, or would he really just disagree with everything when it comes to certain things that I'm speaking on. I'd love to know, you know. Chase, if you ever see this, I am very interested in your work. I appreciate what you do. I think what you do is amazing. And I'd love to talk to you sometime if you ever would want to give a lower creator an opportunity to speak to you. And it didn't even have to be on a camera, or it didn't even have to be on any of that. I would just like to pick your brain about some of the neurological and psychological things that are happening, and some of the tools and practices that you speak about. Because he also offers tools and practices. He teaches these things to corporations and different agencies about influencing and psychology and certain. So this is not the average person here. This is why I'm sharing it with you, because this person felt compelled to have to make a video about what's going on. So let me get back into that.
Showing you some kind of reality. They're showing you this carefully curated nightmare reel of the absolute worst of the other side. They're not giving you the whole picture. They're giving you the most extreme clips that they can find, because they know that you're going to watch. They know that you're going to get pissed off when you see it all, and you're going to come back for more tomorrow. In fact, to me, if I'm very honest, if something doesn't fit their narrative, it is completely ignored. But if a story can be kind of twisted into a blame game, then it is. So they're not showing you reality in any sense. They're showing you a story designed to keep you loyal to your tribe, addicted to whatever their version, twisted horror movie version of reality really is. And what's truly disgusting, what I am genuinely nauseated by. We tend to think, oh yeah, the media is trying to sell ads for some pharmaceutical stuff, and they're trying to sell some car commercial breaks and things like that. That's not it. This is more about distraction. The reason is, while they get you frothing at the mouth over some clip of a protester screaming nonsense, the real enemy to all of us, these entrenched people that you have nothing in common with whatsoever, who decide the narratives, they bankroll politicians, and they write the rules, and you know that they win no matter who wins, right or left. You know that they're the ones getting the checks. They're laughing at how stupid we are. So let's stop with the doom and gloom for a second here, and let me just kind of bring this back. If you strip away all of the slogans, all the hashtags, the little talking points of the media, what do regular people want? What do regular people, you and your neighbors, even the people that voted differently than you? We want our kids safe. We want a roof that doesn't leak. We want food in the fridge. We want a job that doesn't crush our frickin' soul. And we want some goddamn honesty from the people who claim to represent you, to represent us. And guess what? That guy that you don't like with the bumper sticker down the street, he wants the same thing. The woman with the MAGA hat at the grocery store that you thought was an idiot, she wants the same thing. The mom who is too busy working 3 jobs to even care about politics, she wants the same thing too. But what do they not show you on TV? What is the one thing? It's that you have that much in common with the people who voted different than you. They will never show you that. They show you the screaming protester with the purple hair threatening to burn a bunch of stuff down. They show you this red-faced conspiracy guy spitting at the camera talking about crazy stuff. They show you the absolute fringe, because fringe pisses you off. Fringe makes you hateful and angry. Fringe makes you think that the other half of the country has lost its freaking mind. There are absolute real studies on this. There's hard data proving that these algorithms and the media deliberately push exactly what's going to piss you off. Because the more enraged you are, the longer you're going to stay hooked. And they're literally feeding you a diet of enemies instead of neighbors. They're programming you to see the world through some kind of warped carnival funhouse mirror, where these loudest, weird-ass 1% of extremists look like 160 million people, and it's not. It is a lie. It is a lie. And if that's a lie, then let me say one thing that's true. And let me give you the truth here. You and that weird uncle that you argue with at Thanksgiving, you're not enemies. You're both being played. You're both being manipulated. And the second that you realize that, the second that you look across the aisle and see a fellow human being instead of some caricature cartoon, is the moment that the scam starts to collapse. And I think I know what you might be thinking here. So if it's not left versus right, then who the hell is pulling all these strings? Who benefits? So let me ask you, who benefits from you hating your neighbor? Because let's be honest, regular people don't profit from this chaos. Regular people don't, but someone does. And that someone is what I personally call the covert elite, because we have elite and then we have covert elite. And these aren't like a bunch of Looney Tunes cartoon villains in some underground lair. These are CEOs and mega donors to political campaigns. And you notice how they donate to both sides? These are political lifers, media conglomerates. These are the people who cash big ass checks no matter who wins the election. They operate on both sides of the aisle because the sides pay out. They don't care about your values. They don't care about your family or your future. They care about one thing, and that's control. And let me tell you, division is the cheapest, most effective tool ever invented for that. Look at how psyops are described in military doctrine. You identify your target audience, you feed them carefully selected information, and you push their emotion until their behavior changes. This isn't theory. That's written down in black and white. And it's the same exact playbook that's being used on you and me, my family, my parents, all of us. Except this time the battlefield isn't Afghanistan, it's not some country in the Middle East. It is your living room. It's your Twitter feed. It's your nightly news. It's right here where you're looking at my face, whatever device you're watching this on. This is the battlefield. This is why both parties, you're hearing them scream about each other nonstop, but they never really seem to touch the things that matter. And you ever notice there's money for war, but there's never money to fix our roads. You notice how billionaires always seem to fund both sides of the elections. And if you've ever noticed, if you take a good look, corruption is a bipartisan issue. That's not incompetence. So whatever it is for the elites, they need you locked in this tribal, us versus them, tribalistic warfare. Because if you ever woke up and you started to realize that you share more in common with the other side than a single millionaire donor on your own side, the entire game starts to collapse instantly. And I think if you realize this, you'd stop fighting each other. You'd start realizing that the right versus left is fake. And I think that really terrifies them. So who's telling me this? But let me be crystal clear one thing. The real enemy, the Democrat neighbor with the yard sign that pisses you off, it's not your Republican uncle who posts stupid memes on Facebook. The real enemy is entrenched power. And it's an entrenched power that thrives on one piece of fuel, and that fuel is chaos. The real
notice. Once again, he's telling you truths, but they all, I really would like to talk to you because I don't understand who is entrenched power. That's not a person. That's not a group. Entrenched power. That's what they have. That's what they're doing. That's not who they are. Why none of these people won't ever tell you who they are? But then when they give us names, it don't matter no how, because what you going to do with those names? What you going to do? Do you even know what you could do? You don't. They don't want you or me to not focus on this. What happens if you just felt secure, if you felt safe, if you felt free, if you felt whole, if you felt abundant, if you felt that everything that the whole life was already happening without you getting involved in the middle of it? Their whole game is they know how the mind works. And let me tell you something about the mind. The worst part of the mind's working is your conscious level of mind. It doesn't solve problems. It makes problems. It creates problems. It holds you up. It jams you up. It won't let you let go of the past. It's tied to the ego. There's your issue right there. They know that. They have spent trillions of dollars studying your mind. Where do you think they got artificial intelligence from? The mind. That's where they got computers from. It's a representation of the mind. It's just a material, physical form of that. They have cracked the code on reality. So they know how to manipulate it. They can't be doing this to take over the world because they already took over the world. They run the world. Corporations is trying to own us all. They already own you all. You already owned by them right now. You own by them. If they fire you and you can't self-sustain, then they own you. Most people already own. They watch everybody. They own all the airwaves. They own all the land. Any land they don't own, they own the resources on it. And they're actively running the people off the land. Or crossbreeding them right out of existence. Or genociding them out of existence. So what do you think is coming? They're not trying to conquer. They're trying to create us now and alter us into their image. That's what you do after you conquer. They've been lying to us about time, space, where we are in space, the planet you on, dimensions, what energy is. They've been dishonest about everything. Religion, God, people sitting up here arguing about God, Christians sitting up here. I'm not here to debate Christians. I just asked you, did you read the book from start to finish? Not pick passages based on your ideology to contextualize your point you're trying to make. Did you actually read the book and pull out all the contradictions? Because they're not hard to pull out. They're all riddled throughout the book. There's just 1,000 contradictions in it. It's undeniable, the contradictions. Why are you so convinced that these evil people would have the book that is supposed to send you to the greatest place? Why would you think that would be the case? This is one last push to push us into whatever image they trying to. They gave you the story of evolution, so maybe they want to evolve man. Right? It ain't just the food and the chemicals. It's what they're telling you. It's what they're showing you. Just like they used to have all those pharmaceutical commercials. You know how many people immediately were called doctors because they're doctor because they thought they had the symptoms of the commercial? I mean, there were many lawsuits behind all of that stuff. Marketing. Once again, we talk about marketing. Fifth generational warfare. It's not a kinetic war. And if they warring against us, it's not a kinetic one. It's a psychological one. So what do? Learn to release, learn to let go. Start learning how the mind operates. That's where you can start. Start getting into happiness. See, they thrive off of desires and they thrive off of emotional manipulation. And one of the keys to that was to make sure that you began to believe that the emotional states that are happening in you aren't happening and being generated outside of you. So you have been manipulated into believing that if you receive something, then you'll feel better. But what they have tricked you, how they have tricked you is you're not going to get it because you feel better. That's not what's going to make you happy. What makes you happy is the choice to be happy. Making the choice to be happy. That's an internal decision. But we've externalized it, given it away. You understand? We're giving it away. And you don't give yourself permission no more. You say, if I have $1 million, then I will be happy. But what you're really saying is, if I have $1 million, then once the $1 million is in my possession, I will then allow myself to experience the happiness that I already have. But what happens when people get what they want under those circumstances? It never lasts and they're never happy. They have to get more because the wanting is lust. In America, remember, Lenin, this is marketing. Remember this. Sex sells. Lust, violence, sells. Why? Because it triggers stimulus and neurological reactions inside connected to what they might consider to be primal or the reptilian mammalian part of the brain. Fight or flight, reactivity. When this part of the brain is being operated, then guess what? You leave homeostasis. There's a gland underneath your heart that's responsible for your immune system. And when you are in fight or flight mode, that gland gets shut down. So your body can produce more what? Endorphins and dopamine and cortisone. This stuff that you need to push through and survive and stay up late and watch your back, which cuts your immune system down by 50%. So now the body never gets what it needs and it stays in overreactive mode. Then you get sick. But then they tell you it's the drug, or it's the food. They tell you it's this, it's that. What it really is your own mind being so overwhelmed and so stressed out that these are the effects that are physically translated through the body. See, some would say the Chinese knew this. This is where acupuncture, acupressure, and their understanding of meridians and qi comes from. The body has an energy system. And when you don't feel good, when you get upset, when you get angry, when you experience these certain emotions, they actually block these energy meridians, these areas of energy that flow through your body from the homeostasis that keeps you healthy and keeps the blood circulating. That goes offline, man. You get sick. Well, if you unblock that, then you get healthy again. The body responds because it's actually responding to energy. Scientists have discovered that there's an energetic DNA resonance left when you remove physical DNA from a dish. They understand that. They know it's all energy. And they know it's consciousness. And they know that this physical world is a byproduct of consciousness. Your consciousness, my consciousness, their consciousness. And we collectively, from our subjective, and when we interact with each other, that subjective becomes objective when we agree upon something, depending on who is the what? Dominant co-creator. See why they need the movie? You see why they put so much money in your attention? Get back in this.
Enemy is those people who profit when you are divided and distracted, and most importantly, when you are dehumanizing your fellow Americans. This was never about left versus right. It was always about the people versus the powerful. So here's the starting point. It's just sanity, just plain everyday common sense sanity. And ask yourself, do you genuinely want political opponents murdered in the streets? Do you want your neighbor dragged through the mud because they voted differently? Of course you don't, because you're a sane human being. And that means that you're okay. And sanity right now is the most rebellious act that you can commit in this country for right now. Sanity is refusing to let CNN or Fox News or Twitter decide who your enemies are. It's looking across the aisle that's probably imaginary and saying, you know what, I disagree with your ass, but you're not the devil. Sanity is truly openly saying violence is not politics. Violence becomes the death of politics. And true sanity is seeing just the weird idiots on the news and realizing that's not the norm. That is a cartoon that's curated for you. And the second that you stop playing the outrage game and you refuse to cheer for blood, which I hope you didn't do, you're already breaking the spell if you're there. I genuinely believe in my heart that sanity is contagious. And when one person refuses to take the bait, the echo chamber starts cracking a little bit. 10 people refuse, it starts breaking open a little bit more. And let me be super clear here. When millions of people, if this were to happen, or were to refuse, the machine will collapse. I guarantee it. We don't need permission to stop being pawns on the board. The minute that you decide right now that you will not be programmed into hatred, then you have started to win. And that's the first step to being sane. And it starts with you. Mr. Charlie Kirk, his death was a mirror for all of us. And it's a mirror showing us how that we have fallen, because when we see murder being celebrated, when we see neighbors that are...
I think I'm gonna leave what he's saying there. He gave good information, but they're not talking to us. I mean, when I say that, I mean, you know, the true American Indian, the American Negro, which is the American Indian, because that's what the Negro was classified from. But the celebration of the loss of our life has been going on in this country since I was born. And not to say just on mainstream TV or anything like that, but through movies, through my own personal experiences, through going to school. You know, growing up, hearing what in different places, and being in VA in several places, in Texas, and hearing people say in school and stuff, and teachers and people say really horrible things about black people during Black History Month, like that was typical. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, all these other little jabs at the fact that he was set behind. So when he make that comment and then try to act like, well, y'all in the discourse, but the reality is we're not really being represented by anybody that truly represents us. We got a lot of people that have come in that pretend to be us. That's not us. They come from other countries, other lands. They take our behaviors, our mannerisms, our dress code, right? And then they get certified through other races that are here, like they us. But as soon as it comes time to pick a side, they no longer us. That's when they real nationality want to come out. So I respect what he's saying, and for him and his people, that is true. Everything he's saying is true for his people, right? We won't even say Americans as a whole, because that's a fractured reality that nobody wants to deal with. See, nobody really understands America until a number gets pulled, because this is a machine, this is a corporation, we are all products, right? And until you get pulled off the assembly line and you start seeing how the machine runs, then you just live under the color of law and you think things are a certain way. And there's nothing I could say that could break that reality for you, because they have it set up in a way where you're not going to experience that until that number is pulled. So that's, I respect that, but that's not our situation. And I hear a lot of discourse, oh, you know, black people stay out of this. Well, I'm going to say that staying out of it is not really going to be a choice in the end, right? Because what we really have to do is not focus on staying out of it, but becoming whole individually and coming together as whole individuals and getting the land back and getting our paperwork in order, because they took this land from us through violence and paperwork, primarily through paper. The violence was a part of the confusion to slip the paperwork through. So we got to get the paperwork leaves a paper trail. There's a paper trail proving that who we are. See, once that's been established, then they like everybody else, it's time to, like, you got to give up what is owed. And I'm going to just say this about reparations. I don't want to hear anybody tell me that it's not about money. Don't tell me it's not about money, okay? Land equals money at the end of the day. When they say money, they're talking about the same flow of energetic currency that allows everyone else to go out here and participate in the production of the imaginative act being brought into reality. Okay? You telling them that there's school and education, when the reality of your school and education is it ain't taking the people that's there nowhere. I have relatives that accomplished the highest levels of school education. I went to school myself, and I'll tell you right now, none of that don't matter. At the end of the day, education does matter in the sense of learning and educating yourself. And in some instances, maybe you want to go to school to do that. But you go look at the Fortune 500 and see how many of them got there from a college degree. And see how many of them went to school and learned what they needed to learn and left. You don't have the right to tell us that we don't need to get our money, we'll just spend it. That's what you do with money, you spend it. Don't tell people they have the right to spend their money. As a matter of fact, when you make that statement, you disconnect all of the psychology that's attached to it. If one black person gets some money and they go into the hood, yeah, you're going to have some murder. You might have some confusion, especially the fact that everyone else around them is still hungry, no matter how they're trying to share. But if you go into that same neighborhood and everybody that came up on money, and now there's a pressure that's been taken off of everybody about security and safety and feeling like they have to do these necessary things to get by, and they can actually think about investing in what they truly wanted to do. And some of them was doing that thing to do what they truly want to do in the first place. And wow, if they have that pressure off of them, guess what? They don't all want to be rappers anymore. Why would they all want to be rappers all of a sudden now when they have the ability to experience other things that they want to? Remember, the whole thing with black people, black men especially, that's trying to be rappers is because for us, it was given to us, marketed to us as a way to get out of poverty. So no, we should get our money. And you go do whatever you want with your money. Do you tell any one of these nepotized other individuals or other ethnicities that they shouldn't have their money? You don't. Go and do your homework on who reparation has been given to in this country. They have given reparations to people that they didn't even do anything to. But now you need to figure it. Now you want to figure it out when it come to us. Why? Because you black. Because you don't have no identity. Black's not an ethnicity. It don't come from a land. That's why they laugh. When they say Black American, they laugh even harder. Because black is not an ethnicity. It is a status. Just as white is a status, it's not an ethnicity. Gotta remember that. We are the indigenous Aboriginal Americans. Now, if you want to claim your tribe, and a lot of us are Cherokee, a lot of us, and that's why they had to replace us, and they got a bunch, and a lot of them don't even want to mess with us. But the truth is, that's because what they did, and they know what they did. But the truth is coming out. That's neither here nor there. The point is, when talking about this right there, you got to understand one thing: the Psy Op, and when they saying we got to stay out of it, the Psy Op is designed for you. What you're gonna have to do is go and work on the mental faculties you possess. Go learn about the mind. If anybody watching this live, I give you assignment, come back and leave it in the comments on this live. Come back, I want you to, and if you do this, you will. Go look up what a memory is and how do you make one. When you understand what a memory is, when you understand what your mind is really doing, then these games don't really work as well. See, the intention of these particular games, these psyops they're playing on us, is because of the lack of our understanding of our psychology. That's why it works. If you understand your psychology, it doesn't work. So if you want to know what to do, that's what you do. If you come back and watch this live, please leave a like, please leave a share, right? I have a prequel to my book, Beyond the Veil, Shatterpoint. I want to read this prequel on the live, but I'm going to build this live up. I'm going to keep coming back. I'm going to keep making videos. And when I get a live with at least 25 people in it, I'm going to start reading this prequel. See, this book I wrote it has everything going on in it, right? And I always watch these, and I'm like, I had to give something back. So I wrote a movie, I wrote a book, I wrote a whole world. Right? And if you go and leave a comment later, you see this video, and you go and leave me a comment directly to me, I'll get you a link to the prequel. But we're going to wrap it up. And I must come back later in the day because this is not over. I got more to give you and we got more to talk about. But I want to thank you for joining me. Please check out my book, Shatterpoint, Beyond the Veil, Shatterpoint. It's on Amazon and Kindle if you want to read it digitally on the go. It's a great read. You're going to enjoy it. It's very visual. And if you're into this kind of information, you're really gonna love this book. I really feel like you're gonna enjoy it. And also the music you're hearing at the beginning of the show, that's all my stuff. You can go on SoundCloud under Talib Jensen, find any of my music there. If you're an artist, you like what you hear, you want to work together, please reach out to me. I always love working with new people. And hey, Cocaine, if you see this, man, bro, Space Brothers. So hey, check this out. Thank you so much, guys. See you live on the next one. And until next time, expect a miracle.